Welcome back to my Pokémon Platinum Hardcore Nuzlocke walkthrough. In the last episode, we finally began our journey through Gen 4. There wasn't a whole lot of action, but Platinum's intro is quite long, and there were a ton of encounters to pick up right from the start. We went over starter selection as well, of course, and now we've made it all the way to Orberg City, where we'll look to grab our first gym badge. The road from Gen 4 Casual to Platinum Master continues. Let's do this. As far as the city of Orberg goes, there aren't too many highlights to go over. You can grab a heart scale and yellow shard close to the entrance to the mines, which will be nice to have later on for relearning old moves and picking up some new ones. It's also worth noting that there is a trade opportunity in this house here. You can trade a Machop that you have found on Route 207 for this lady's Abra. Not the worst trade, I suppose, but you can find both Pokemon on a variety of other routes throughout the region, so the trade is pretty insignificant. Speaking of Route 207, which is to the north of Orberg, that's where we'll be heading next, to pick up another encounter. A Machop, perhaps? We could really use one, honestly. And it's a Ponyta. Well, that's not good. Not to say that Ponyta is bad by any means, because I actually kind of like the line overall, but we really needed something to deal with Rourke, and now, well, I'm not sure what the plan is now. I'll figure that out in a little bit. Just to comment on Ponyta for a bit, like I was saying before, it's not bad. Yeah, it evolves super late at level 40, but Ponyta isn't built like most first stage Pokemon. With a base 85 attack and speed stat of 90, Ponyta is more than capable of putting in some work in the early and mid game, especially in Platinum specifically, where Game Freak finally decided to give this thing an early physical fire type move in Flame Wheel. Matchups are a fairly mixed bag overall, but just like Infernape can be used to counter some of the bigger threats like Candace's Frostlass and Cyrus's Weavile, so can Rapidash. Unfortunately for us, we don't need another fire type right now, so this encounter is going straight to the box for the time being. And after some training on Route 207, I completely forgot that this was a thing. I totally forgot that Chimchar evolved at level 14. Well, that's good at least. I feel just a tad better now about Rourke now. Back in Orberg now, we head south to the mines to tell Rourke to get a grip on his ego and to pick up our next encounter in Geodude. And thank God it is not an Onix. The Geodude line doesn't need a whole lot of explanation. They perform very similarly in most games. Great in the early and mid game generally, and then they tend to fall off as the run progresses. And for the most part, this is true in Platinum as well, but Graveler and Golem are both great for Volkner if you don't have another ground type option. Geodude and Graveler are just nice to have in the back against random trainers as well. There are a lot of scary ones in Platinum. Now, while Rourke is now available to challenge, I'm going to backtrack to Orberg Gate to the west, so I can grab that Psyduck encounter. Monferno could potentially get the job done on his own, but I'd rather risk the Psyduck than put my starter in danger right off the bat. The Psyduck line is as average as it gets when it comes to usability. Like, if I had to rank all fully evolved Pokemon in existence right now based on how viable they are for hardcore Nuzlockes, I would put Golduck directly in the middle of that list. It's a basic water type that fulfills the basic water type role. You'll give it Surf and Ice Beam and basically not care about what the other two moves are because there's not much more past that. Psychic is fine of course, and maybe you could fill that last spot with either Calm Mind or Focus Blast for some extra coverage. And just like all the other mono water types out there, the matchups are just fine. Some good, some meh. It's actually worth noting that Golduck's Cloud 9 ability can be useful against Candace to clear out any hail that may be up as well. Just a little extra help against that Frostlass. And after spending some time to grind up our new derpy friend, it's finally time to take on Rourke and his rock types. Let's get into the team review. This one will be nice and quick. Psyduck will try to sweep with Water Gun, and if he can't, Monferno will clean up whatever is left. I'm fully expecting to one-shot both Geodude and Onix. Cranidos is a potential 2-hit KO, but it is on a range it looks like, and more importantly, we might be slower, so it really comes down to whatever nature that thing will have. I did equip the Quick Claw just in case we get lucky. If we are slower, or if Cranidos just deals too much damage on the first Headbutt, I'll switch into Monferno to finish the job. A crit from Headbutt shouldn't be able to bring Monferno down in one hit at all, so we should be good there. First gym of Season 2. Let's get it done. I lead with Psyduck, of course, and immediately bring Geodude down with a Water Gun. Onyx comes out next, and he's actually faster than us, but only goes for the stealth rocks. Not that his attacking moves would have done too much anyway. If you need to set up on one of Rourke's Pokemon to prepare for Cranidos, this is the Pokemon to do it on. Cranidos is out last, and Rourke's Ace hits us with the flinch on the incoming headbutt. Ouch. I continue on with Psyduck, knowing that a crit will bring us down, but Psyduck is fairly expendable, honestly. We hit the Quick Claw on the next turn, and Water Gun deals way more damage than what I had calculated. This Cranidos must have had a very unfavorable nature towards special defense. Our Psyduck does not get crit, but we do make the switch here to Monferno to clean this up. It is worth noting that this Cranidos does have Pursuit, which could have easily taken us out, but it was either take the chance on that or pray that Quick Claw procs so that we could move first. Luckily, the Pursuit does not come out, and I'm able to get Monferno in to finish the job. After a potion from Rourke and a couple of Mach Punches later, the first gym badge of the run is finally in our possession. With our first badge in hand, it's time to start pushing the pace a little bit. With Rock Smash now usable, we can pick up the Big Pearl from Orberg Gate for some extra cash, and I also spent some time to level up our Geodude a bit. She'll be very useful for the upcoming Mars and Jupiter fights. Our Starly also evolved, which is very nice. Intimidate will be very helpful against, well, everything pretty much. Now back in Jubilife, and our progress is halted by these freaks with blue hair. The professor is even less impressed than I am. Bunch of morons. I then tried my hand at the lottery real quick, and why do I even bother? I can't remember the last time I actually won anything from a lottery corner in any game. Time to head north towards Eterna Forest, and along the way we can pick up the TM for Rock Tomb within the Ravaged Path, now that we have Rock Smash. I hate moves that have less than 90 to 95% accuracy, but the guaranteed speed drop you do get from this move is honestly too good to ignore in certain situations. Might need it for Mars and or Jupiter? Now on the northern end of Route 204, we can pick up another TM in Bullet Seed. Haven't been able to think of any uses for this yet. Pairing it with a King's Rock could be cool, I suppose. Although, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure the multiplicative chances to flinch apply to multi-strike moves outside of Gen 3. Anyone else know if this combination still works? After wiping out another trainer or two, we eventually reach the beautiful Floroma town. This small little area is pretty awesome, and not just aesthetically. It is here that we can pick up our first few berries, as well as the spray duck, so we can plant and water our own. Although it may not feel very exciting, this is a fantastic pickup, as it'll allow us to farm up to 5 berries or so at a time if we're consistent with the watering. Another fantastic item to grab here is the TM for Pluck from the girl within this house. Pluck is a very powerful move to obtain this early in the game. It hits hard for the early game, and it gives one of your Pokemon the ability to eat your opponent's berries, which comes just in time for the next few boss fights. Moving on to the Valley Windworks right outside town real quick, we can push the story forward a bit more. We won't be picking up our encounter here just yet, as there is a specific Pokemon that will appear here after I take out Mars and Team Galactic. A Pokemon that I've never played with before, so I'm excited. And after making quick work of the grunts over in Floroma Meadow, we obtain some delicious honey from this guy. I'm personally not a huge fan of the honey tree mechanic. There are some sweet encounters you could obtain if you're lucky, but the dice you roll on those Pokemon is not very favorable. You could easily end up with arguably the worst possible encounter that you can receive in Pokémon Platinum, which is a male Combee. If there were more routes in the game that had overlapping encounters between them, I could see the honey trees being a bit more worth it. With that now taken care of, I can now enter the building in Valley Windworks to hopefully take down Mars and reunite this poor little girl with her father. And with that, this episode is now over. We covered a bit more ground this time, and I hope to cover even more in the next episode, but at least we got our first gym badge and evolved some of our core team members along the way. In the next episode, we'll be looking to take down Mars for sure, and hopefully Gardenia as well. In the meantime, as usual, please like the video if you liked it, and subscribe for more content like this. And let me know if you like the pacing so far for the series. That's it for me. I'll see you next time.